Hi world! I've decided to upload a series of videos to teach my loved ones how to care for my plants after I'm gone, or if I'm ever hospitalized for a prolonged period. I need to know that they will be well looked after. My plants are precious to me. I've put a lot of time and effort and love into caring for these guys, and I thought I would make these videos public because maybe I can help some of you out there who are interested in learning from my experience. Maybe some of you are interested in pursuing this hobby, which has been very rewarding for me. Many of the plants I'm growing here are endangered in the wild and can live up to 50 years. So I love the idea of my kids being able to enjoy these plants long after I'm gone. And I think that I have a lot of information to convey. So this video and the ones following might be lengthy, but it means a lot to me that you guys take care of my plants when I'm gone. So let's get to it. I'm going to start with the ones I have in this shelving unit here that I'm growing under these grow lights. On the top shelf, I have my peyote babies growing here in the back. They get a thorough drink every 2 weeks at this point. And when I give them water, I give them some fertilizer. This cactus fertilizer here, I dilute it to half strength. So what I'll do is I'll fill up this squeezy bottle, which holds 2 cups or 500 milliliters, and I'll add 2 drops of the cactus fertilizer to this bottle of room temperature tap water. We have a well, so I use well water, and yeah. I usually do like 3 passes. I'll squirt each one with the water, and then I'll come back and do it again, and then I'll do it a 3rd time. That's how I take care of these guys. As they get older, because they're still pretty young, they're only a year old, they're going to need less frequent watering, probably. There's a YouTube channel called Sacred Buttons. That's the name of the company where I ordered the seeds from, and he has a bunch of videos on his channel about how to take care of peyote. And he explains in his video about watering peyote that it all depends on humidity, the type of pot that they're in, and stuff like that. So, check it out if you're interested, or if it ever comes to a point that these guys are bigger and are in different pots. The instructions I'm giving you right now might be different. They're sitting on a heating mat. I read they appreciate heat for the first couple years of their lives. So I'll probably keep them on this heating mat for another year and then see how they do without it. I'm also covering them with paper towels, just 1 ply, because they are sensitive to light at this stage because they're so young. They were turning a dark green, and that's an indication that they're getting too much light. So I just filter the light out a bit for them to keep them happy. I'll probably be able to remove these paper towels in another year or so and see how they do. If they still turn a dark green, then I'll know they're not ready for it. So you just have to go by their color. These are my Haworthias. I'm going to have to repot all the little babies in the spring. And these guys, like most of my other succulents, which I'll show you, they get a drink every month or so during the winter, and about once every week or 2 during the summer. So down here I have mostly my Lithops and a few other things. Over here, I'll start with these guys. These are Cheiridopsis. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And they get a drink like the peyote every 2 weeks. The schedule I'm on now is they are getting a drink on every 2nd Monday. In the wild, these guys have a growing season that occurs in the late winter and spring, and they do go dormant in the summer. However, I read that if conditions are favorable, they will continue to grow year-round. So, well, I've just been watering them year-round every couple of weeks, and they're doing great. They're only a year old, these guys. But yeah, they're happy. I have more that I'm keeping, or actually only one more. And that one is down here. And it's getting natural daylight. The lithops need to be left alone when they are in the process of renewing their leaves, like these guys. All of these I am currently not giving any water to because they are splitting and absorbing their old leaves. So they don't need any water right now. I'm going to wait until the outer leaves have completely shriveled up. Like this guy's getting close. Those outer leaves are drying up. When the old leaves have completely dried up, I'm going to wait until the new leaves, so the leaves in the middle, start to wrinkle. When they start shriveling up, that's how I know they're thirsty. And then I'll give them a thorough drink of water. And then I leave them alone after they plump up. You just let them be. And if they get wrinkly again, give them another drink. And I usually only have to do that maybe 2 to 4 times a year before they start to divide again. Now, sometimes they will stay very wrinkly even after watering. They will not plump up, and that's how I know they're getting ready to split and renew their leaves. What I do in that case is I continue to give them water every couple of weeks until they do split open. And then I'll just let them be. Like this guy back here, I had been watering that one for a long time, and you can see the sides are very wrinkly, and it just wasn't splitting for the longest time, but it finally has. So now I'll let it be. Yeah, you can see most of these, I'd say, or many, are actually not only splitting but dividing. That's gonna be 2. That one is 2. I got 2 in there. People will tell you that you should not water at all when they are dividing. And I mean, when they're splitting. And for the most part, that's true. But I've noticed that sometimes they're gonna kind of get stuck and not do very much. Like, it's like they get stuck while they're splitting, and they, need a little bit of help to continue the process. If you find that they are stuck and not continuing to split for months, if you don't see any progress, you don't see them, that crack getting bigger, you don't see the leaves shriveling up more, sometimes giving it some water will help it break through that barrier. I don't know how to explain it. It's like they just kind of get stuck and they just need a little bit of help. So if you give it a little bit of water, that'll like kickstart things and they will continue the process. And that seems to go against all the advice you'll find online. But yeah, just you got to watch them and give them time. It takes a while to complete a split. But if they're stuck for months and you don't see any development, try giving it a little bit of water and see. That will often help things along, especially if you notice the inner leaves getting a little wrinkly. That's an indication that they need some water to continue the splitting process. So that's how I take care of the big ones. As far as repotting goes, these guys probably won't be needing any repotting for years. I guess when they start to, because here they're dividing, maybe in a few years they're going to fill up the pot so much that they're going to have to be repotted into new pots. Basically, what you're going to do is cut the roots. I trim the roots very, very close to the plant to expose the white inner part of the root. So I basically cut off all the root, and then I let it sit for like a week and dry out. And then I put it into a substrate that's 90% inorganic, containing mostly pumice. I have mixed in some coarse sand and some, this is chicken grit, just some gravel, and 10% cactus mix. And then I will water them every week or so for a while until I think that the roots have started to grow, and that usually takes like, oh man, what did I do, like a month or so. I just kept watering them until I saw that they were starting to split, because it's pretty normal that they split after you repot them. But yeah, don't repot them when they're splitting. When lithops grow to about 3 years of age and are considered mature, they will bloom if they are happy. And I've had a number of mine bloom for me, and the flowers are stunning. They are very large for the size of the plant. And when this happens, you don't really have to do anything. They typically bloom in late summer, early autumn, and they naturally reduce their water requirements. So they don't need any extra water. You just enjoy the bloom, and after it dies away, they typically will split at that point, so no water after the bloom dies. So these, you can see they're mixed species, and so they're different sizes. At this point, I am giving them water, and I do not fertilize my lithops at all. The little guys, like the tiny ones here, they're getting a drink every week still, every Monday. But the big ones, I'm starting to water every 2 weeks. So again, I use my little squirty bottle. I use my smallest squirty bottle for these guys. So this 2-cup or 500 milliliter one I use for my peyote, and this one, which only holds 250 milliliters, I use for my lithops. And so yeah, this little bottle never gets any fertilizer. I have some babies here. Okay, I'll just talk first about these guys. This is a mammillaria cactus. I'm not sure of the exact species. My daughter brought home seeds from work, and I planted them, and I'm watering these guys at this point every 2 weeks. And this spring they're going to be getting some new homes. They're going to be repotted. So yeah, every second Monday, the same time I water the other guys, these guys get a drink with this same bottle. No fertilizer needed for those guys. I'm going to show you how I water these. Why is it so bright? These lithops. There we go. That's better. So every week, these little guys get a drink, and I'll show you how I do it. I just go around and give them a good drink. Every Monday, these guys get water, and I make sure to go everywhere because they're very well camouflaged, and you don't want to miss any. And I give them a pretty good soaking. And I should mention that right now I have the fan off just to make sure you guys can hear me properly. But normally the fan is on at most times, especially for a few days after I water, just so that they get good ventilation and don't stay wet for too long, because they don't like that. And you want to make sure they dry out completely before the next watering. So that's about how much water I'll give them per week. And I'll do the same for all of these guys. Now the lights, I have to tell you how to mimic the seasons, because that's what I do for my lithops. And all of the plants on the two lower shelves. My peyote and the Haworthias, the light for them stays on for 16 hours a day. They come on at 7 a.m. and they go off at 11 p.m. all year round. Summer, fall, winter, and spring. However, for my Lithops and my Cheiridopsis, they need seasons. So I'm mimicking the seasons by giving these guys varying amounts of light. In the winter, like right now, it's February. They're getting 12 hours of light. And what I'll do is March 1st, I'll begin increasing the amount of light they get by half an hour every 15 days. So it will be 12 and a half hours from March 1st until March 15th. And on March 15th, I increase it another 30 minutes. So from March 15th to April 1st, they'll get 13 hours of daylight. Then from April 1st to April 15th, they'll get another 30 minutes. So that'll be 13 and a half hours. On April 15th, I will increase it again by half an hour, so they get 14 hours of light. And then I keep increasing every 15 days until June 15th, when they will receive 16 hours of daylight and 8 hours of darkness per day. From June 15th until September 1st, they will receive 16 hours of light and 8 hours of darkness. On September 1st, they shift into fall, and I will decrease the amount of light by half an hour. So they'll get 15.5 hours of light on September 1st. On September 15th, they'll get 15 hours. On October 1st, I reduce it to 14 and a half, and so on until December 15th, when they will be getting 12 hours of light again. These guys here are younger. They're not even a year old yet. And although they're younger, they're still pretty much the same size. In fact, they're even bigger than some of the smaller ones there. I guess because they're different species, some are growing bigger more quickly than others. But in any case, I give them a drink every week, just like the other ones. When they're small, so what I do is I just go by size, really. When they're about this size, they get a drink every week. When they get a little bigger, like these guys here, like some of those big ones, it's every couple of weeks. And then you'll see in a little bit, I have some ones that are even bigger. So I'm sorry that I'm not focusing very well on what I'm doing. It's hard to make the video and water at the same time. See, this guy here, I don't like the way it's laying flat. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab a toothpick, which I keep down here on this plate in the back there. Here, I've got some toothpicks. I'm just gonna prop it up a little bit a little better. Sometimes these guys need a little help standing up straight, and I can see that it's really a lot of it is exposed, and I would like it to be more in the substrate there. So I'm going to grab up here on the top. I keep a little bowl of sand, and I'm just going to grab a bit of sand. And I'm just going to put some sand around this guy to help it stand up. I find the seedlings often need help with that because they tend to grow out of the substrate too much and then fall over. Okay, that should be good. Give it some more water. There you go, dude. Be happy. Stand up straight, man. Okay. These little guy. So you can see this guy already split. A lot of them have split already, and they're sitting really tall in the pot, whereas some of them are still really teeny. I guess it's just the different species. So yeah, give them a pretty good drink every Monday. This pot here contains a very special one. Right there. That is an Optica rubra that is in the process of renewing its leaves, and it's been like this for months now. It kind of forms like it doesn't actually split. I've noticed that with a few other species I have. They don't actually split like that orange one there is splitting, see? But what it does is it just creates like the outer leaves just kind of dry up and just kind of encase it. Like that one there, like they don't split, they just dry up, and then the new leaves are just inside. And I'm just waiting for it to grow. As they grow, they will eventually like burst out of that. So yeah, just don't overlook that one because it's really well camouflaged. Only 2 in this pot. Okay, so that's it for that shelf. Oh, I almost forgot. On the middle shelf right now, I have 2 Venus flytraps that have just come out of dormancy. Took them out of dormancy a couple of days ago on February 1st. I do the refrigeration method for dormancy because our winters get too cold here. These guys live outdoors during the summer where they happily catch bugs, and I leave them out there until temperatures drop in the fall. They will not tolerate temperatures below 4 degrees Celsius. So when the nighttime temperatures drop to, around 5 or 4 degrees, I bring them in. And it varies from year to year. Last fall, I brought them in on October 15th. It's usually around that time that I'll bring them in, and I will take them out of their pots carefully, rinse the roots, rinse all of them in distilled water, and then I will trim any leaves, any traps that have died away, because it's normal for the traps to die, and then they, grow new traps. So the old dying traps, I'll trim them away, and then I will wrap them up in sphagnum moss that I have moistened with distilled water only. That's very important, not to use tap water. These guys only will only live if you give them distilled water or rainwater. They do not like minerals in tap water. Or bottled water. So make sure it's distilled. Wet the sphagnum moss, squeeze it out so it's like a moist sponge, and then wrap the roots in that, and then spray it with fungicide or fungicide. Not sure how to pronounce that.
Fungicide.
But I have this sulfur-based
Fungicide.
in the basement where I do my repotting. It's a powder, and I just follow the instructions on the bottle, mix it up in my spray bottle that I have above the stove, and then spray it down and put it in a Ziploc bag. I don't bother zipping closed the Ziploc bags. I just leave them open and I put them in the crisper drawer in the fridge. And I check on them every couple of weeks, and sometimes some of the leaves will start turning black, and then I'll trim those off, spray it with a little bit more
Fungicide.
And then, just keep checking on them, make sure nothing is turning black, and keep them in the fridge until the beginning of February. I have 2 more in the fridge right now. That's because they were in the store at Christmas time. I bought them around Christmas time. So they should have been in dormancy, but they weren't. So they're just going to sleep a little longer, and I'm going to take those guys out of the fridge around April 1st. Then I plant them in a mix of sphagnum moss, so the same moss that they were wrapped up in over the winter, peat moss, and coarse sand. About an equal mix. And then I put them in there, and then I just rinse them with some distilled water, water them from above, and then put them into these bowls where they're sitting in distilled water. And I will leave them under these lights. Again, these are the seasonal lights that change every 15 days, starting March 1st. And then when the temperatures at night go up and stay consistently above 4 degrees Celsius, I'll put these guys back outside. And I keep them under a chicken wire cage, because the jays, they like to eat these guys. I unfortunately lost a couple when I wasn't covering them, because the silly jays just came and plucked them out of their pots and damaged them and destroyed them. So keep them covered, and when I do put them outside, I acclimate them slowly to get used to the sunlight, and I do that by covering the cage with a thin white shading cloth. You can find it in the drawer with the kitchen towels, so that they will get sunlight, but not direct sun all day long. I'll increase the amount of direct light by an hour or 2 per day, gradually getting them used to the bright light. You just put the towel over them, and then remove it for a few hours every day. I don't have a hard and fast rule. Like, it depends on how cloudy it is, how sunny it is. But I'd start with maybe a couple of hours of direct sunlight, and then cover them with a towel, and then the following day, increase it to like 3 hours, and then cover them with a towel, and just gradually get them used to the light over the course of a week or 2. And that's how I take care of my traps. They're not looking too good right now, but that's because they just woke up, and they're gonna grow some new leaves and look a lot better by the summer, because I trimmed away a lot of the old ones that had died away. Now on this shelf, I have some older Lithops. They're not as old as my adults on the top, but they are about 3 years old now. And again, some are smaller than the others. And most of these are in the process of splitting, so I have not been watering them, except for this little guy back here. You can see this one, like I was explaining, is covered by this really dry sheath. And underneath, there is a plant that's growing in that. It looks dead, but it's not. It's just the outer leaves that have all dried up. So what I do with the ones that split this way is I continue to water them every couple of weeks. Well, in this case, it's more like every 3 weeks because these guys are bigger or older. Every 2 to 3 weeks, this one will get some water until it will start to bust out of those dried up outer leaves. When it does, I'll let it be. Like that one there. Do you see? It's right here. It busted out. So, but they don't really need water at this stage because I can see it's not really wrinkly yet. But it's like every 3 weeks or so. Actually, you know what? It hasn't had a drink in a while, so I will give it some water right now. And then I won't water it again for another 3 weeks or so. And yeah, because they're bigger, I'm actually thinking of repotting the bigger ones this spring, because they say that once they are 1/2 inch or larger in diameter, you can repot them. So yeah, a few of those are ready for repotting. But yeah, the same rules as for the adults at this stage. For the big guys, no watering until their outer leaves have been absorbed and are all dried up. Generally, the smaller ones appreciate more frequent watering than the bigger ones. So yeah, I'll keep my eye on the small ones, like these little guys on the side. They get wrinkly more quickly. Even though they're not done splitting, like, I mean, the outer leaves are still not completely dried up. I noticed that the new leaves, they will wrinkle and get like really wrinkly. And when that happens, I'll give them a drink. So, you know, a lot of sites will tell you, oh, don't give them any water until the outer leaves have completely been absorbed. But I just go by the new leaves. And if the new leaves are looking wrinkly, I give them some water, even if the outer leaves have not fully been absorbed. Like this guy here, you can see it's kind of wrinkly there, so I'm gonna water it. All right, and these guys, at this point, they're getting water every 2 weeks. And they did not get any last week, so they're gonna get some now. And I'll show you how much I give them. You can hear that sound. That's the timer back there. It makes a weird noise. The reason I have these yellow sticky traps is because I saw some fungus gnats flying around. Even though fungus gnats don't generally bother my lithops too much, because I do let them dry out completely between waterings. And fungus gnats, they like my plants that stay more damp. I still put some traps around here because I did see some flying around and I didn't like that. So I'll try to show you what I'm doing here. You can see all the different patterns and colors. They're just so beautiful. So yeah, I started all these guys from seed. And it's really cool because they can live up to 50 years. And I really hope that my kids will be able to enjoy them long after I'm gone. Hence this video. So yeah, these are still splitting here, but because they're still small, I'll continue giving them water every couple of weeks. Only once they reach a size of more than ½ inch across in diameter will I let them be and treat them like adults. So that means no water at all until they're done splitting, or until the inner leaves look really wrinkly. The back over there are some more that are the same age as these. I just planted in a different pot. Well, it's actually a strawberry container. Or maybe blueberry container, I don't know. There are berries in it. I'm running out of water in my bottle. It's another one there that's just in its sheath. It's not really splitting, it's just hiding inside. Okay, hold on, I'm just gonna get some more water. All right. And the white dusting on these guys, diatomaceous earth. I did have a thrips problem a while back. I haven't seen any thrips in a long time, but that diatomaceous earth I had sprinkled over them, and it's still there. That's what makes it white. So yeah, these guys are the same age as the others. They get water every second Monday. No fertilizer. There we go. And these guys are more greenish. You can see they're younger. And they're larger, which is weird. Not really sure how that happened. But they'll get a drink every 2 weeks too. Just because they're about the same size now. Oops. Should show you what I'm doing, hey? All right. There we go. All right. Oh, yeah, and then these guys back here, they're really small. I give them some water. Oh, that little guy. Oh, the light is weird. It's really bright, but there's just one growing in that pot. These were actually the first ones that I had ever tried to grow. And I had them in a south-facing window for too long. I didn't know. They were getting too much light when they were little, so that stunted their growth. I think this guy's like 3 years old now, and still really tiny. Because I think it got too much light when it was little. I don't know. So yeah, these guys, every week, I give them some because they're still really small. There we go. Over here, it's my tiger jaws, they're called. And they've flowered a few times, and they look kind of bad because the flowers are all dead now, but the flowers don't come off. So I just leave them there. And unfortunately, that's how my thrips came in, I think. I noticed the first thrips in one of those flowers. And I read that these guys are like thrips magnets. Bugs love them. Maybe because there's so many places for the bugs to hide in them. I water, and yeah, this is neat because there are more flowers coming out. There's another one there coming, and another one back here coming out. Water this guy Basically, what you're gonna do is feel the bottom leaves, give them a little squeeze, and if they feel soft, then it's time for it to get a thorough drink. Right now they're firm because I watered it not that long ago. When they're soft, yeah, just give it a thorough drink, and then let it be. Let it dry out completely. Its growing season is late spring through the summer, so during that time, it will likely be more thirsty and you'll be watering it every 2 weeks approximately. Whereas in the fall and winter, you want to cut back to about once a month. But just go by the leaves, give them a squeeze every couple weeks and check. And yeah, you'll feel when they get soft. That's the plant telling you it's thirsty. It's going to be at least a couple of years before this guy needs to be repotted and probably, split, because you could propagate them by splitting them. Check online on how to do that. I won't get into that, but you're going to want to use a mostly inorganic mix. Again, 75% inorganic. I'd use equal parts pumice, coarse sand, and chicken grit to 25% cactus mix. My split rocks, or Pleospilos snellii, don't know how to pronounce it. These guys are absorbing their old leaves right now. You can see over here, this guy here. The outer leaves are soft and wrinkly, and the inner leaves are firm. So it's not getting any water right now. It's absorbing its leaves. And same with this guy, nice and firm. So I'm going to let it be until the outer leaves are fully absorbed and crispy. You can see the old leaves there on the outside are kind of stacked. I guess I had given this guy too much water because they're only supposed to have one set of old leaves and then the new leaves coming out, but it actually has 3 sets of old leaves, so they call that stacking, and it's apparently not desirable. So I'm going to hold off on water until these outer leaves are fully dried up and absorbed, and then when the center part starts to look thirsty and wrinkly, I'll give it some water, and that usually does happen in the spring with these guys. I read that these guys are thirstier than Lithops and like to be watered more frequently, even though some people online say that's not the case. I don't know. I had one that was kind of stunted. It just wasn't growing. And I thought it was because I was following the advice I had gotten online that you should just water it once in the spring and once in the fall. And I don't think that was enough. So I did water it more often. But I guess I watered it too much because it started to stack its leaves. What I'm going to try to do this summer is once it's done absorbing the outer leaves, I'm probably going to give it water every 2 to 3 weeks. And see how it goes. And then in the fall, it should open up and split. Once the leaves start to split, they will either reveal new leaves growing inside or possibly a flower stalk. If it's a flower stalk, you can continue to water if the leaves feel soft and get wrinkly and show signs of thirst, give it water. But if new leaves are emerging, leave it alone and do not water. Now in this little pot here, I have only one Monolaria moniliformis, or bunny ear succulent. This is a 1-year-old plant. I got it through its summer dormancy, and I find these guys are really slow growers. They're staying really tiny, and they also need quite a bit of water, I find. I've lost a few thinking they would be okay with the amount of water I was giving them, but they actually are thirstier than I thought. So I'm giving these little guys a drink every 3 days or so to keep them happy. I have 2 other pots here, and these guys are a little bigger. In this pot, I've got 2 growing, and you can see the little bunny ears. They're actually super adorable. And this one is still really tiny. They are a plant that goes dormant in the summertime. So in the spring, they're going to form a very dry, papery sheath, and they're just going to go to sleep for the summer. And when that happens, don't give them any water at all. And I move them out of the light. Actually, I put them under my desk over there. I just keep them in like a shady spot. And I leave them alone, and they look absolutely dead in the summertime. And I wasn't sure if they were going to survive their dormancy, because a lot of people, from what I've read, are not able to get them through a dormancy in the first year. But I had some that survived, and these guys, I've got 6. So every 3 days, I give them a drink, and I've actually fertilized these guys with the same diluted fertilizer, the ones I give my peyote. I think I've done that a couple of times, maybe 3 or 4 times actually. So maybe once a month during the growing season, I gave them a little bit of fertilizer. Well, this is their first year. I'm not sure if I'm gonna continue doing that, but I found that doing so made them happy. They seem to enjoy it. And yeah, they're slow growing little guys, but they're really cute. I love them. So you don't want to let them dry out for too long. 3 days, give them a little bit of water, not too much, just like that. But yeah, wait until the substrate is really dry before you give them more. And that's what the fan is good for. Helps it dry out quickly. Now, here I have some really young Lithops. They're less than a year old, and they're getting water once a week. And they've begun splitting their first leaf renewal. And some of them are really starting to blend in with the background, changing color, especially these, the Optica rubra. That's like my one on top that I showed you that's been hidden away in its dried up sheath. Here I have some more Optica rubra, and you can see in this pot I've got 6 of them, and some of them are starting to turn reddish, like that one right there. There's 1, and then 2. That one's also a bit reddish. And 3, and 4, 5, 6. Every Monday, give these guys a good drink. And yeah, make sure you get all of them. So 6 in that pot. And this one I have a few more. And these guys are more greenish, so it's easier to tell where they are. There you go, babies. Enjoy your drink. And that wraps it up. I'm going to make more videos because I have a whole bunch of other plants over there and over here. and over there and in other places. So I'll have to make videos about those in the future. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking care of my babies. And for those of you who might be trying to grow your own plants, well, good luck with them, and let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to share any experience I have and help you along. I love my plants. They're awesome. They're all so different. They're like children. I mean, each one is different. Each one is different. And they're just so cool, I think. Love them. I love to spend time with them every day. And I hope that some of you might feel inspired to enjoy growing some of your own. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.